Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Hope you had a really great break with the Easter break. You had a nice long weekend and you're back to it now. I know it's a bit of a crazy one because everyone's getting back into the office and doesn't know what to do with themselves. But here we are today for our nutrition talk. So today we're going to talk a bit about fats. Now, fats as an energy source, fats as a macronutrient, fats in general, have been vilified for years. And those of you that are probably 50 plus lived in a world where, fats were making you fat, they were giving you heart disease, they were causing real problems in the body. Now, we can go into the whys and whats of why that happened and what the reasons were behind, fats being vilified as an energy source. But fast forward to 2024, and things have changed a little bit. So again, lots of different information that's out there, but our goal here is to give you some basic understanding of what fats are, what they do, how they work, and from there you can make an informed decision around what you do with fats. Straight off of the bat, though, fats, protein, and carbohydrates all have an important role to play when it comes to an optimized, healthy body. Okay? There's optimizing the body, there's losing fat, there's increasing strength, there's increasing muscles, lots of different goals. Every individual person is going to have a different makeup of how their body works and approaches different macronutrients. Okay, so for example, my body, I don't get on very well with carbohydrates, but fats and protein, I feel great on those energy sources. I also feel that I feel healthier, my body feels leaner. It's a great energy source for me compared to carbohydrates. Fat and protein generally are going to be better energy sources for people that are looking to lose weight, because oftentimes they overeat on carbohydrates, and carbohydrates are accessible everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Everything you eat, everything you pick up is wrapped in bread or is cerealized or is oats or full of sugar. So carbs are everywhere. Protein, one of those things that is a bit harder to get hold of because if you do eat out in a kind of takeaway type place, normally protein is the most expensive element, so they'll reduce the amount of protein in it. They'll ramp up the amount of cheap vegetables and carbohydrates that are in it because it's a cheaper source of energy. It's a thing that they can use to make profit. When it comes to fats are still quite expensive, but there are much cheaper, refined, crappier versions of fat, which are now causing us all types of problem with our health, with our kids' health. And if we're looking at a couple of issues that are ongoing now in the next 10 to 20 years, processed foods, trans fats, and refined sugars are definitely, three things we need to be aware of. So let's talk about fats a bit more detail. So I'm going to bring up a little infographic that kind of takes us through fats and what they are. So hopefully you guys can see that. Let's have a look. Yeah, brilliant. So that's that should have popped up now, and you can see that top of the screen. So there's different types of fats, all broken down into different subcategories, and they have different chemical bonds, they have different carbon atoms, they have different ways the body processes it. But for the benefit of this talk, just understanding the different types and understanding what it does is a good place to start. So let's start with saturated fat. This is the one that has been very much vilified as the reason that people would get heart disease. The new research has started to throw that into question, and actually we're starting to understand more that saturated fats, from animal sources, from good quality animal sources, potentially doesn't have the risks that we first thought, especially if it's ingested reasonably moderately, as in you don't need to zero it, but it can have something that starts to improve your health if you approach saturated fat animal meats in a kind of healthier way. Now, many people say that we overeat on animal meats. My experience of doing this for a very long time is most people that I deal with don't eat enough protein. They're far too short on it. When it comes to fat, even more so. So if you look at something like a steak will have the protein in there, will have the amino acids, which we spoke about last week, but also have a good level of fat in there because you've got the fat, the marbling inside of it. That would be saturated fat, okay? Things like cheese, things like butter, these are full of saturated fats as well. Saturated fats can be used in things like pastry and high-fat chocolate. So, they're in most of those things we spoke about. They aren't going to kill you. But that's what we're starting to understand from the research. If you're eating a steak every couple of days, you're eating some cheese, and you're putting butter in your cooking, it's not going to kill you like we were told in the 50s and 60s. In fact, it's a good way to get energy into your body because your body likes it. Okay, very simple. Monosaturated fats, so you're looking at things like olive oil, you're looking at things like eggs, peanuts, certain seed oils as well. When it comes to monosaturated fats, again, they're promoted as reducing the amount of LDL cholesterol, HDL cholesterol in the body. So they're a good source of energy and fat. And, olive oil for me is always going to be a winner. Eggs always going to be a winner. Great source of, monosaturated fats, as well as avocados as well. Another example of, monosaturated fats. So again, all comes underneath the fat bracket, but different versions of it having different effects and different ways your body breaks it down. Okay. Thing with saturated fats is normally they're hard at room temperature. Monosaturated fats are liquid at room temperature, or they're viscous, or they move and they're kind of viscous as well, right? So that's the monosaturated fats. Polyunsaturated fat, which is the quote unquote healthy fats. You're looking at oily fish, things like walnuts, certain seeds, chicken, things like omega-3s are prevalent in mackerel, stuff like that, and canola oil. Okay. So certain seeds, rapeseed, stuff like that. And again, the whole point of these, the reason that people talk about them quite a lot is that omega-3s we know are good for us. We know they can reduce the amount of bad fats in our bloodstream, whether that's LDL, HDL, HDL being the bad one, LDL being the better one. I would just say around that whole cholesterol side of things, just do a little research, start to read into that, look at the research, and research is slowly coming out that it's not as important as we first thought that it was, even though it's prevalent within all of our blood testing markers still. Probably in the next 5 to 10 years that will start to change as the understanding improves. So polyunsaturated fats, again, they're going to be liquid at room temperature, but when you stick them in the fridge, it'll start to go solid. So again, when it comes to omega-3s, omega-6, these are versions of polyunsaturated fats. Probably you'll find most people have too much omega-6 in their diet because it's in all the oils we use, in all the seeds, there is in our food as well. Omega-3 is the healthier version. So if you're not eating a lot of oily fish, makes a lot of sense to add, omega-3 oils into your diet. They're great for inflammation. They reduce inflammation in the body, which we know is, along with being overweight, is two of the reasons that people are getting ill and not being in great shape. So onto trans fats. Just before we go on to trans fats quickly, when it comes to energy, just so you understand this, okay, Cam, so fats are good. I should have more in my diet. I'm looking at having some saturated fat, more monosaturated fat and polyunsaturated fats as well. When it comes to energy, calorie-wise, carbohydrates and protein have 4 calories. Fat has 9. So when you do have fat in your diet, be aware that it is more energy rich. So if you suddenly start taking this information and eating tons of cheese and putting tons of butter and everything, you will put weight on because there's a lot of energy inside of it compared to the other macronutrients. Just broken down a little differently. Also with fats as well, it's harder to eat more of it. You don't get many people that eat cubes of butter. You usually use it in cooking and it's then removed mainly. If you're having cheese, again, you don't eat tons of cheese because it's quite heavy as well. But just be aware that the calorie balance is much higher in those foods, okay? When it comes to trans fat, these are the artificial ones. These are the ones that are made by hydrogenation, where they make them in a factory. They last forever, so they can be, if you find those muffins on the shelf and they've got 2029 on them, that's because they've got trans fats inside of it. They last forever. So people that are producing low quality foods, fast food, donuts, cheap muffins, fries, they'll use these types of fat because you can use it again and again. So it lasts forever if you're frying stuff in it. If you're cooking food in it, if you're making food from it, it lasts forever. Because of the hydrogenation, it means that the shelf life is very, very long. The problem is your body doesn't know how to process it. It's not good for your heart. It's not good for your arteries. It's not good for anything. It creates inflammation in the body. So really and truly, trans fat should not be on your menu. But of course, We're humans and we have the odd bits of this type of food, okay? So again, you want to minimize that best you can, because not only are you going to get the extra calories from it, you're going to be putting something in your body that your body doesn't know how to break down, which causes inflammation in the body, which is really bad if you're looking to live a healthier lifestyle. All right. So when it comes to, what a perfect plate of food would look like that includes protein, fat, carbs, and vegetables, you're looking at something like, a salmon fillet with a boiled egg on top, cooked in a little bit of butter or olive oil, some green vegetables, maybe a small sweet potato. That's a good meal. Okay. A bad meal, which has got high fat in it, would be, a cheeseburger from a well-known brand, some fries, and some Dunkin' Donuts on the side. Okay. You see the difference. So I hope you found that interesting. I hope it's giving you a little insight into fats and how they work and what they do. Again, like all of this stuff, it's a very deep, nutrition's very deep. We've gone very surface level today, but you want to go and do a bit of research yourself, go out there, find it, have a little look at some of the research that's coming out, and use that in your own plans, use that in your own kind of nutrition side of things, and start to understand that, there are some foods that are just bad for you. You just don't really need them. The trans fat stuff, the processed stuff, you should really be minimizing this. You shouldn't be having this as standard, because it's creating a lot of problems in your body. Okay. Any questions, guys, give us a shout. We're in the group. We're around. I'm around. Casper's around. Jamil's around. And we're here to help. Cheers, guys.